Hey everyone, thanks for being here. I'm Bob DeStefano with SVM Industrial Marketing, and today we're going to tackle what's changed in how industrial buyers make decisions. Now, you may relate to the story that I hear every day from industrial leaders. Your sales team is ready, your solutions are strong, but the phone may not be ringing the way it used to. Salespeople are waiting for calls that just seem to never come. Meanwhile, buyers are building shortlists in silence. They're comparing you to competitors. They're reading reviews from your customers, even asking AI tools like ChatGPT, who's the best company I should be working with? And by the time they reach out, if they reach out, most of their decision is already made. It's frustrating, but it's also an opportunity. If you can adapt to how buyers buy today, you can get ahead while your competitors are still playing by the old rules. And that's exactly what we're going to cover today. As we go, please drop any questions that you may have in the Q&A box. I want to make sure I get your questions answered, and I'll save time at the end to answer as many as I can. Now let's dig in. Let's kick it off by talking about what's changed and look at the numbers. Okay, so here's what the numbers tell us about industrial sales today. First, less than 2% of cold calls lead to a real conversation. What that means is that your sales team has to make about 50 dials to just get one meaningful exchange with a prospect. So no wonder it feels like the old playbook is just not working any longer. And here's the reason why. It's because 70% of buyers today prefer to complete the journey before they ever talk to sales. What they want to do is perform their own research. So by the time you get the phone call, if you get the call, most of that decision is already made. And now here's a new wrinkle. Over 60% of B2B buyers are using AI tools like ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, Perplexity to research and select suppliers. They're building their shortlist with tools your sales team never even sees. Now that's the sales reality check, but there's also an opportunity available because if you can adapt to this new buyer behavior, you can win while competitors are still playing by the old rules. So here's what's happening right now. So in this example, I asked ChatGPT, who are the best material handling suppliers in New Hampshire? And this is the answer that I got. And it's a short list of companies with strengths, with their focus, with details about why they stand out. And this is not just for material handling. Buyers are asking kinds of questions like this every day in every industry. Questions like, who are the top-rated hydraulic jack manufacturers in the US? Which machine shops are the best in my region? Can you compare distributor A versus distributor B? This is happening countless times per day across categories. And the real question for you is, are you showing up on these lists? Or are buyers making decisions without even knowing that you exist? So we saw what is happening with ChatGPT, but that's just one piece of a bigger picture. Buyers aren't relying on sales calls any longer to get the information they need to make decisions. They're doing their own homework across multiple sources. They're asking AI tools for top suppliers. They're also turning to traditional Google and performing a traditional Google search. They're looking at product comparisons. They're checking out reviews. They're going to directories like ThomasNet or other important directories in your industry. And they're also talking to peers in their industry to figure out what's worked for them. All of this is happening quietly, long before your sales team ever hears from them. And the common thread here is every one of these sources is shaping that short list of suppliers. And if you're not showing up across this new research journey, you're invisible where it matters most. And that's why the strategies we're about to cover are not optional. They're designed to help you show up early across all these touch points so that when the short list is made, you're already there. So we've seen how buyers are creating their shortlists in silence. They're going to AI tools, to Google, to directories, reviews, and their peers. But how do you get chosen in this hidden research phase? The good news is that there are 7 specific moves that you can make that will make you visible, trusted, and chosen before the first call. And here's the roadmap we're going to go through today. First is to dominate the big 5 questions. Second, we want to lean into being very transparent about our pricing. Number 3, we want to build self-service tools that buyers can use to research themselves. Fourth, we want to show up in best of shortlists. 5, we want to win the magical 5-minute window with speed to lead. 6, we want to equip our sales team to deal with the AI-informed buyers. And then 7, we want to stay present with consistent trust-building email that nurtures relationships and will help you close those deals. Now, we're going to go through each one of these, and let's start with number 1, the questions that buyers are actually asking. So there are 5 key questions that buyers ask every single time they're looking for a company to work with, whether they're talking to your salespeople, whether they're searching online, or whether they're asking AI. And if you do not answer these questions openly and completely, you will not earn the buyer's trust. And the competitors that do will. So what you want to do is make sure that you understand the key questions that your buyers are asking and that you're answering them directly in all of your marketing communications. So this idea of the big 5 comes straight from Marcus Sheridan's work in the book Endless Customers. And in that book, Sheridan identified the 5 key question types that buyers research most often whenever they want to find out anything about a company to work with. And this is what they want to find out before they talk to your salespeople. And in the AI era, if you don't answer these questions clearly on your website, AI cannot recommend you. So here they are. First, they're asking about cost. They want to know, how much does something cost, or what are the factors that drive the cost? Second, they want to know about the problems. Great, you're telling me how great your products are, how great your solutions are, but what could potentially go wrong, or why would this product potentially not be a great fit for me? Third, they want to find out about comparisons. How do your products stack up? Is this product better for my application than this other one? Are you better to work with than your competitors? They really want to find out this information, and you need to be transparent. Fourth is reviews. They want to know what other people are saying. They want to know what their peers are saying. They want to know about the experience that other people have in working with you or working with your solutions. And then finally, they want to know who's the best. Everybody wants to know who is the best company I should be working with for my needs. So you need to make sure that you're addressing the best options available for them. So these are the 5 questions that account for approximately 80% of the research that buyers are conducting before they contact your salespeople. And if you answer them well, you'll build trust with buyers and show up in these AI recommendations. And if you dodge them, if you avoid them, you're going to get skipped in this new environment. So let's break down exactly how you can get started addressing these. Okay, here is the exact AI prompt that you can use in ChatGPT, in Gemini, in any of the generative AI tools to generate big 5 content ideas. It's presented in a Mad Lib style, in a template. You just fill in the details. By filling these details and running this prompt, you'll get 20 topics mapped to those key questions, the big 5: cost, problems, comparisons, reviews, and best of. If you want, you can also grab my full AI visibility playbook, which goes through these prompts and a lot of other key ideas that you want to integrate into your marketing and sales process. But here's the quick win that I want you to go for. What you want to do is get started. Use these prompts, use some of the prompts in the playbook, and publish 1 article this week that addresses the cost. How much does your product or service cost? You can give ranges, explain the cost drivers if you can't give the exact price, show where your customers typically land based on the applications. The more transparent you can be about pricing, the better. And if you can do this one thing, you will be ahead of most competitors. And you'll finally give AI a reason to recommend you when buyers are asking. Okay, we talked about cost. Let's lean in deeper and lean in specifically to pricing. Uh, I already know what some of you are thinking because I hear it every day. Bob, we can't publish our pricing. It's too complicated. It varies too much. We don't want our competitors to know about it because they're going to use it against us. I've heard all of these objections for 20 years, but here is the reality. If you do not talk about pricing and cost, AI will, and it will use your competitors' content to do it. And that means you're going to lose control of that narrative. So let me show how you can do this, how you can lean into pricing, but do it the right way. Okay, this is what I call the 5 levels of pricing clarity. It's how you can leverage clear pricing to earn buyer trust and AI visibility. So let's unpack this. I want to begin by saying that most industrial companies aren't even in the game when it comes to pricing. They're not even on one of these tiers. They're stuck at level 0, a pricing page that just says call for a quote with no ranges, no context, no help. And I'll tell you, buyers hate that. AI can't use it, and that's exactly why they're invisible. Now, here's what good looks like. So there are 5 levels. At level 1, that's where you can provide some ballpark price ranges. Even if it's a wide range, like most projects fall between 15,000 and 45,000. Even that wide range gives buyers a starting point and gives AI something concrete that it can use to classify you. Level 2 goes a little bit deeper and says what actually drives those costs. What are the variables that determine where they're going to fall when it comes to pricing? The size, the materials, the complexity, compliance with certain laws. Buyers want to know exactly why vendor A is charging more than vendor B. And by providing these drivers, you can provide that clarity. Level 3 is about providing inclusions and exclusions by spelling out specifically what's covered and what's not in certain solutions or certain packages. For example, the installation includes X and Y. It doesn't include electrical or structural modifications. This kind of honesty builds trust and filters out poor fit leads that either are not in that price range or can't work with these inclusions and exclusions. Level 4 is comparisons. Help buyers understand the difference between packages or even applications. Example, here's why a hydraulic jack is right versus a screw jack. If you don't make these comparisons, AI or your competitors will do it for you. So that's why all of this is about you leading the narrative. Level 5 is return on investment or total cost of ownership. Show the long-term value of working with you. It doesn't need to be a fancy calculator, even though it can be, and I'll show you some ways that you can offer that. Even a simple case study, like this $10,000 repair saved $30,000 a year in energy costs, is an ROI proof case study that will help you be at level 5. Now, the good news is you don't have to leap right to level 5. You can take baby steps. Even moving from level 0 to a 1 or level 2 puts you ahead of 90% of your competitors, and it makes you visible to both buyers and to AI. So that's the pricing clarity framework, these 5 levels that will help you move from invisible to chosen. But the key question that I always get is, okay, Bob, how do I actually do this? What does a pricing page look like? What are the elements of a pricing page? So let me tell you about the perfect anatomy of a pricing page that will drive results for you. Okay, so here's what it looks like when you put the 5 levels of pricing clarity into practice. On your pricing pages, first you want to start with a clear headline. And don't make the mistake that a lot of companies do and just name their pages of their website based on the category of content that's below, like solutions or packages. No, in plain English, you want that headline to say, how much does it cost? That's the question that your buyers are asking. That's the exact phrase that they use, and it's what AI is looking for. So you want to make sure you're starting with a headline that speaks that language. Second, give your ranges or your starting prices. Like I said before, even if they're broad, it shows honesty and sets expectations. Third, you want to explain what drives the costs up and what drives the cost down. Complexity, materials, labor, compliance, scope. Buyers need to understand the why behind your numbers. Fourth, if you have multiple packages or different service tiers, you want to show them in a comparison table so that they can see them side by side. Buyers love side-by-side clarity. It helps them make their decision easier. Fifth, you want to provide a frequently asked question for pricing. Answer the 8 to 10 questions that your sales team gets all the time. Why is vendor A higher? What's included? What adds cost? Not only will this address the key questions that your buyers are asking, it also is formatted in a way that AI can very easily index your content. Frequently asked question lists are gold for showing up in AI. Sixth, the secret weapon, a short video. Just a 60 to 90-second video of a subject matter expert explaining pricing like you would in a sales call is tremendous. No scripts, it doesn't have to be polished, just make it real. Buyers trust people more than text, and AI recognizes video transcripts and content too. So when you're creating that video content, it can bubble up in AI results. And then finally, a clear next step, a call to action. Don't leave them hanging. Tell them exactly what to do. Get a custom quote, schedule a pricing call, whatever that is. What we want to do is convert those anonymous visitors into named leads. So here's your quick win. You want to create one page this week that gives a price range plus your top 2 to 3 cost drivers. That alone will put you ahead of 90% of your competitors. And if you can add a short video, you'll stand out even more. Okay, way number 3, offer self-service tools so that buyers can perform research on their own. Now, this is not about cutting sales out of the process. That's a concern I hear all the time. It's actually about letting buyers take the next step on their own timeline and on their own terms. And the good news is, when they do this, they come to your salespeople better informed, more serious, and much easier to close. So let's talk a little bit more about that. So the reality is that 75% of B2B buyers say that they prefer a sales rep-free experience when they're performing their research and when they're trying to procure products. Now, that doesn't mean they don't want to ever talk to sales. It just means they want to do that research, that comparison on their own. They want to use self-service tools or do their own research to figure out what's the best option for them before they talk to salespeople. So what do they want access to? They want access to cost calculators where they can estimate cost based on their needs. They want access to product configurators where they can build customized solutions, adding in those different variables so that they can come up with their cost estimate. They want side-by-side comparison tools so they can review all the available options and compare your different pricing levels or categories that you may offer. They want resource libraries or learning centers where they can perform research on your website, packed with big 5 articles like we talked about earlier, product specifications, how-to guides, case studies. These are all fantastic resources for buyers to perform their own research. And then finally, simple quote request forms, not long forms that you use to qualify by asking every possible piece of information so that the form looks so long it looks like a tax return. It's so daunting. You want simple quote request forms asking just for the basic information that a salesperson needs to make an intelligent follow-up. You want to provide a simple way that a buyer can get fast, detailed responses. So companies are often hesitant to offer these tools because they don't want to cut their salespeople out of the process. But the reality is that if you're not providing tools like this, it doesn't mean that your salespeople are losing control. They're actually getting more control because the leads that they get are more serious and they can spend their time talking to people that really will grow your sales and grow your company. So let me show you an example. This is a cost calculator that is actually in use by a company that manufactures pavement rollers and curb shapers. So If a prospect that's on their site is interested in pricing, of course, they can't quote exact pricing because it depends on a variety of different factors. But what they're using is a pricing tool that will allow the prospect to build their own pricing. So first, they pick their machine. So whatever the options are, in that particular category, they pick exactly the product that they're interested in. Then they select their options that matter most to them, whatever those options are. They select the timeline. When do you need this? Do you need this now, immediately? Do you need it over the next couple of months? Is there a significant lead time available? And then the company captures the lead. This is key. We're offering self-pricing tools so that the buyer can have that pricing transparency, but we want to generate leads. So before the buyer gets the price, we're getting their basic contact information. And they're happy to do it at this point because they understand you're giving them a price, you're helping them. And then finally, the prospect gets an instant ballpark estimate based on all of the different variables that they had put in place. Now, notice what's happening here. The buyer feels in control. The company collects the lead data so that their salespeople can qualify them. And by the time the sales discussion happens, that pricing conversation is already on the table. Buyer is now more educated, they're serious, and if they're having that conversation, they're likely ready to move. So that's why these tools don't cut sales out. They actually deliver better fit buyers directly to your team. And the quick win is don't overthink this. Launch one simple self-service tool this month. Even a basic ROI calculator or a quick quote form will put you ahead of most competition. If you are interested in offering a price estimator tool like this, one that I recommend is called Price Guide, and I believe the URL is priceguide.ai. Okay, so these self-service tools, they're not going to close the deals. Your salespeople will, but it will spark the conversation. And here's how we bridge that gap when somebody completes one of these online estimators. First, we begin with automation. Right away, automation does the heavy lifting. Immediately after completing this process, the buyer gets a results email with their selections, an estimate range, and the timeline. The email also offers two clear next steps. One is to book a 15-minute review call with your salespeople so that they can clarify what they're looking for, or to reply just with a question about the estimate. We want to give them those two calls to action as clear next steps. And then behind the scenes, everything is logged into your CRM system or marketing automation system. If you don't have one, I recommend taking a look at HubSpot. Fantastic platform for systems and processes like this. That will allow your salespeople to know exactly what the buyer is asking for, and all of those interactions that have occurred will be logged in that system. So the next thing is within 1 hour, we need to get people involved. A salesperson needs to jump on a 15-minute review call, reach out to the prospect, and you want to cover three basic questions. Just keep it very simple. What's your top problem that you're trying to solve? Start that conversation. Let's get a dialogue going. Is there anything unclear in the estimate? You want to clarify anything that may be ambiguous to your buyers. And is your timeline flexible or is it firm? Now, this is not a full sales pitch. Think of it as a clarity call. The sales rep will confirm the fit, check compliance with the prospect's needs, and then advances the call to an opportunity where, let me schedule a demo. Can I come out and review your site? Would you like a formal quote? So that they can move the opportunity along. And then finally, within 24 hours, you want to close the loop with a tailored recap. Now, not just a generic email. You want to send out a PDF or more great content that confirms the configuration, it refines the estimate, adds a helpful content asset, maybe from your Big Five library, like a comparison sheet, a checklist, or an ROI example. Every recap sets a next step. So if the buyer's ready, it's a meeting on the calendar. And if not, they go into a 30-day nurture sequence until they are. So that nurture sequence, if you can't connect with them immediately and close the deal, that email nurturing will help you with that process of keeping your company in their minds, keeping the deal alive, and nurturing them towards that ultimate sale. This is how you turn self-service estimating tools into a sales conversation and then a booked meeting. Fast response, quick context, and consistent follow-up. That's the system that you want to work. Okay, way number 4 is you want to win the best of shortlists. Because when your buyers are asking ChatGPT, Gemini, Perplexity, any of the AI tools, who are the best suppliers in this category or your category, you want to be on that list. And the problem is most companies, they have no idea how AI decides who makes the cut. So let me show you how this works. So a buyer asks a simple question to one of these AI tools. So, for example, who are the best suppliers in my category or my region? If they ask Google, traditional Google, SEO decides who shows up. Google will rank your website and drives traffic to your website. That's how traditional SEO works. We want to know what people are searching on. We want to show that content on our website. We'll bubble up in the traditional search results, the 10 links, and then people will click over and visit our site to learn more. So they need to go to your site in that case to get the answer. But if they ask an AI tool like ChatGPT, Perplexity, Claude, Gemini, it works completely different. It doesn't rank your website, it gives the buyer the answer and compiles a short list. So the buyer never has to visit a website to learn the answer. They're getting it right in the AI tool. And that AI tool builds that list by pulling from sources that it trusts to figure out who should be on that best of list. Published lists of best of companies, review sites, rating sites, comparison articles, industry directories, case studies, even recommendations in forums like Reddit or Q&A threads. These are all areas where AI is pulling from to build these short lists. And the output is just a short list of companies with reasoning why they made the cut. And here's the key insight. If you're not in that list, not in that short list of sources, you're invisible when it comes to making recommendations. So I'm often asked how this is different from traditional SEO because it seems similar. In traditional SEO, we're writing content about the keyword phrases that buyers are searching on, we're publishing it to our site, and then we're ranking. So traditional Google search results still matter, but it's very different from bubbling up in AI versus traditional search results. In traditional SEO, it ranks your website's content and drives traffic to your site, and that's our traditional playbook that we have been relying on for decades now. But AI works differently. These AI tools pull from what's already published and not just on your website. It's not just pulling from content you've published to your website. It's pulling from these third-party sites that show lists and reviews and comparisons and directories, and then they use that to compile their short list. So if you're only focused on traditional SEO tactics and tricks, you may still be getting traffic right now, but that traffic is dwindling. Look at your Google Analytic reports and compare them to a year ago. Guarantee your Google organic traffic is down. And you'll miss the short list where buyers are actually going when they're asking AI who they should be working with and who's the best. So the key takeaway is traditional SEO still matters. You're still seeing traditional search results, but that shift is occurring. And if you're only focusing on traditional SEO and not focusing on the factors that AI considers important when building these short lists, you're going to miss an opportunity. Okay, so let's take a look and see how this really works. So when those search results popped up in the AI tools, it's pulling from a number of different sources. It's pulling from published top 10 lists. It's pulling from Google reviews. It's pulling from magazine articles that are talking about the best companies for specific categories. It's pulling from case studies that mention your company. This all works because, as I mentioned before, AI is pulling from all of these different sources. And what you want to do is make sure that you're bubbling up. Buyers want to know that they can trust you because you're more transparent. And AI is going to reward comprehensive, unbiased content that shows your transparency. So that big five list, all the information I talked about before, will help you bubble up. Like I said before, it helps you control the narrative, and buyers will stay on your site instead of competitors because they are seeing that you are the best company that they can trust. Okay, way number 5 is what I call speed to lead. And what this is how fast do you respond to prospects when after they reach out to you. And here's the reality. Buyers do their research in silence, but eventually someone's going to raise their hand and say, I want help. They're going to fill out a form on your website, initiate an online chat, submit a quote request, or pick up the phone and call your sales team. And this is the critical moment, because once they reach out, you don't have hours or even a half hour to get back to them. You have a small window of opportunity where you can take advantage of closing this deal and nurturing that buyer towards an ultimate sale. In fact, the numbers show what happens in the first few minutes, and that makes all the difference. So here are the numbers that should completely change how you think about response time for lead follow-up. According to research, if you respond to a lead, to an inquiry that you received within 5 minutes, you are 900% more likely to connect with a live buyer than if you were to wait a half hour. That's a 900% increase just by being very timely. And here's the kicker. 78% of buyers will go with that first company that responds. Not the best company, not the cheapest, the first company that reaches out to them. So think about it. You could have the best product, the best pricing, the best service, but if your competitor replies faster within that 5-minute window and you wait 2 hours or even longer, you've already lost. So what do you need to have in place? 4 things. First is instant lead routing, so that inquiries don't just sit in some random email inbox and go cold. You want to make sure they are routed to somebody so they can make that follow-up within that 5-minute window. Text and email alerts to someone's phone, buzzes right away. That's perfect. You want to have ready to go templates so that your salespeople can respond quickly without sacrificing quality of the response. So build a template library in your CRM or marketing automation system that your salespeople can draw from. You want to make sure that nothing slips through the cracks. So your quick win today is for your email inquiries that you're receiving, all of your quote requests, all of your lead generation opportunities, turn on some type of mobile alert so that salespeople are instantly notified of new leads so that no one has to wait. This one change alone will put you ahead of 95% of your competitors and put you in a better position to win. Okay, on to way number 6, sales training and enablement. We talked about your salespeople, how important they still are in this process, even though buyers are showing up differently today. But your salespeople need to be trained properly. By the time the buyer reaches sales, they've already done 70% of their homework. They've researched their options. They compared features. They've asked AI for recommendations. So what that means is that your salespeople need to understand the old discovery call is now dead. Since buyers have done so much research on their own, the salesperson doesn't have to help the buyer diagnose the problem in every case. They know what the problem is, and they even know what potential solutions are. What they want is confirmation that they're on the right path and confidence that you're the right company that they should be working with. So the question is, how do you train and equip your salespeople to win in this new reality? So let's dig into that. So first, let's talk about how the sales journey has just flipped on its head entirely. In the traditional sales process, we have our buyer, our customer, who has a problem. They reach out to a salesperson early, and then the salesperson is basically the key guide that that buyer will be working with. They guide the entire process. They own the conversation. A discovery call uncovers their needs, educates them, and then walks the buyer all the way to decision. Sales owns the process. They own the timeline, they own the information, and they own the relationship. But as I had mentioned, today's AI-enabled journey is completely different. Buyers aren't picking up the phone any longer. They're starting with AI tools. They're turning to ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, Google's AI mode, and they're performing their own research. These tools help them diagnose their problem, research solutions, and build their shortlists. Um, and they're basically finding out who they should call. They haven't visited any websites at this point. All they've seen is a list of companies that AI considers to be the best based on their particular need at that particular point in time. And that's why your salespeople may feel like they're walking into the fourth quarter of a game that's already been played. It's because the buyer's done all this homework. So by the time that they reach out, if they do, it's not a discovery call, it's a shift to more of a validation call. The salesperson needs to validate what has the buyer learned in their own research, make sure they're on the right path, and guide them towards that ultimate sale. So that shift from discovery to validation is why the old sales playbook just doesn't work anymore. And it's why we need to rethink how sales teams compete and win in this new environment. So let's break down exactly why this is happening and what it means for your sales strategy going forward. So what works now? There are basically three categories of selling paradigms that I want you to shift towards and embrace. First is assignment selling. And what this means is that instead of waiting for the call to educate buyers, send them content in advance. So they've scheduled a call with you. In advance of that, let's educate them a little bit. Let's ask them to review an article, a case study, maybe a short video. This allows salespeople to flip the script. When the buyer shows up, they're already educated on the information that was sent. So the conversation starts at a higher level, and you're not going to waste times in the first 20 minutes of that call covering the basics. Most likely the buyer's done a lot of research on their own. This will give them a little bit more information. We don't want to waste their time when they're on that call. Second, you want to leverage video, one-to-one videos. Instead of just sending a text-based email, send out a short video to prospects. Now, this is a game changer. You can use video email tools like BombBomb. You can also use tools like Loom to record these videos. A quick 90-second personal video in an email builds trust faster than a text email ever could. It puts a face to your name, it shows that you're real, and it makes the buyer feel like they've already known you before they even meet you. And the third is content-assisted selling. We talked about the importance of the big 5 content ideas and all of that content I asked you to create. You want to use that so that your salespeople can be more effective. Your sales reps just can't wing it anymore. In order to succeed in assignment selling, they need a playbook of articles, of case studies, of ROI tools, of videos that they can draw from and send out before the call, during the call, after the proposal, even to re-engage deals that may have gone quiet. Now, that's how you keep momentum and reinforce confidence at every step of the sales journey. So the quick win that I have for you is have every rep in your company record one frequently asked question video this week. Just a 90-second video that answers the common pre-call questions that they normally would receive, and then send it to the prospect before their next meeting. That one move alone changes how buyers will see you, how they'll see your salespeople, how they'll see your company. You'll instantly gain more credibility and instantly be more trusted. So video is really important. Let's zoom in a little bit more because it is that important. It's one of the fastest ways to build trust with today's buyers. But the problem is most companies are doing it wrong. They're investing a lot of money on glossy brand videos or promotional reels that really don't answer the key buyer questions. So they may look great. Your CEO and president may be extremely impressed and proud of it, but to a buyer, it's really not addressing what they're most interested in. So our friend Marcus Sheridan identified what we call the selling 7 in his book, Endless Customers. These are the 7 types of videos that actually move the sales needle. So first are 80% frequently asked question videos. These are videos that answer the top questions your sales team hear all the time. So if buyers are asking how much does it cost or what drives the price, put that into a video. Answer it in a short 90-second video. Second, process walkthrough videos. You want to show people exactly what it looks like to work with you. Take the mystery out of the process. Show your facility, demo your products, whatever you can do to make it more transparent about who they're actually going to be doing business with. To take this a bit further, record bio and team videos. These will allow you to humanize your people, humanize your salespeople, humanize your service people, the people they're going to be working with on a daily basis. It lets buyers connect with the experts they'll actually be working with. Fourth, product and service fit videos, which is a solution that's right for me or not right for me. You want to be honest about when you're the right choice and when you're not. That honesty will help you build trust. Fifth are the cost videos that we had talked about. Buyers want to know what impacts that number, what impacts what they have to pay. You want to explain the factors and the context. Sixth, case studies and testimonials. They have always existed. They've always been traditionally in paper-based forms or things that people can read. You can turn these into video products, especially testimonials. They are more effective and more convincing than traditional written testimonial quotes. It lets your customers tell the story in their own words and helps resonate even more with prospective buyers. And then finally, landing page videos. Any key landing page that's on your site, instead of just making people read the entire page, film a short, persuasive clip that describes what's on the page or whatever that key content is. That will help you increase conversions and engagement on your website. So the point here is simple. Your sales team should have a library of these videos that they can pull from, that they can send out in their assignment selling and their content assisted selling. Sending them before calls, after calls, and proposals, even to re-engage those stalled deals. That's the best way that you can use video to build trust and accelerate your sales. Okay, so I talked about content assisted selling. Let's talk about it a little bit deeper and show how this actually can work for salespeople in this validation first world. Now, there's certain content you want to use in the sales process at different times to build trust and close faster. Now, pre-call, you don't want to wait for the phone call to educate buyers. In advance of the call, send them a frequently asked question or a cost explainer plus a 90-second intro video. That will help set the agenda, qualify the buyer, and will make that conversation start at a much higher level. And the line to use is, before we meet, here's an overview and pricing factors that we can discuss on our call, just to provide you with some insight in advance. Now, during the call, you want to bring content into the conversation. Have it at the ready. Have comparison sheets that you can pop up on the screen or present to the to the prospect on their desk. Process walkthrough video that you can show them of how the work gets done, or a simple spec sheet or checklist. That's how you can prove the fit, why you're the best fit for the prospect, not just claim it. Post-proposal, to remove the risk from buying from you, send a case study, a quick total cost of ownership example, a one-page implementation plan. The idea is you want to say something like, teams like yours chose us because here's the ROI, here's how simple the process is, whatever that it will be. It will help you close those deals. And then if the deal happens to stall, and they do from time to time, you don't just want to send a check-in email, just checking in, just following up. You want to send something valuable. Send one piece of content that's tied to the stall. Is it a cost factor? Is it timing, priority? And also make sure you include a link to your calendar so that prospect can schedule that call. Example is, you could say, well, you mentioned cost on our last call. Here's how peers in your industry justified that and the return on investment that they received. Would you like to walk through this in a quick conversation with that link so that they can schedule? So the key quick win for you is this week, you want to build a 5-item sales content kit. frequently asked questions, cost explainers, comparison sheets, case studies, and that 90-second intro video. And then save them as templates so that your salespeople can use them before, during, and after every call. And the big takeaway is, in a world where buyers come to sales 70% informed, they've already done their research, enablement is not an option anymore. It is a requirement. If your sales reps don't have the content at their fingertips that address the key questions buyers have at each stage of that buyer's journey, they're going to lose deals to competitors who do. So sales training is not just about scripts that we want to give them. It's about arming them with the right marketing content at the right time so that they can validate the buyer's decision with confidence and close deals faster. Okay, finally, way number 7, email that stays present, email that nurtures. Now, email marketing isn't dead, far from it. In B2B, it is one of the best ROI channels that you have in your marketing arsenal. And this is the problem, though. Most companies don't know how to use it. They're focusing on promotions, product launches, and company news. And buyers aren't waiting for that. Buyers are waiting for content that answers their questions. So to reframe this, email, think of it as your visibility drip. It allows you to nurture relationships by dripping useful content, sending it out to prospects at the right time, keeping you present and trusted during the weeks or months when buyers are performing that research in silence, long before they have that initial sales conversation. So as you're generating those leads, you want to put them into this visibility drip. So let me show you how to do this right. So I talked about the ROI from strategic email. It's tremendous. Email delivers a $36 return on investment for every $1 that is put into it. That's tremendous. And that's not a guess. It's data from the Direct Marketing Association. No other B2B marketing channel consistently produces that kind of ROI. So you want to leverage email marketing, but you want to make sure that you're doing it strategically and doing it the right way. Most companies underuse it or dismiss email marketing because they are stuck in old thinking. They treat email as a dumping ground for those promotions and product launches and news. But let's be honest, your buyers aren't sitting around waiting for that. They ignore it. The new thinking is you need to send out useful information that the buyers value. It's about staying present and trusted during those weeks and months when buyers are conducting that research. So you want to make sure that you are leveraging email as that nurturing tool to deliver the highest return on investment in your B2B marketing. So here's how you can actually make it work in today's buyer's journey. First, you want to pick one real buyer question. Don't just guess, ask your sales team. They're hearing these questions on a day-to-day basis. What are the top 10 questions that you're receiving? And then pick one real buyer question, whether that's costs, problems, comparisons, reviews, or the best options. Those are the questions buyers are typing into AI and trying to find out about right now. So you want to address those. Step 2 is answer it in 3 to 4 short paragraphs, or even better, 5 to 7 bullets. Keep it scannable. This isn't a newsletter. It's not promotional. It's educational. So make it easy to read. Step 3 is link to the full contents on your website. So that might be a longer blog, a case study, a video, frequently asked questions, whatever that would be. You want to link out to that full content. This both drives traffic and helps feed that AI visibility because now you've got structured answers published on your website that AI can index. Step 4 is end with one clear next step, one clear call to action so that people can take that next step. Again, you're not selling, you're inviting a conversation. And your quick win is commit to 12 weeks of Thursday Q&A emails. One question, one short answer, one link. Do that consistently and you'll stay visible, trusted, and chosen during this silent research process. And the key here isn't perfection, it is consistency. You want to do this on a regular basis, and if you're consistent, you will be successful. Okay, so let's bring it all together. We've covered the 7 ways to get chosen when buyers never call. Now it's your turn to take action. First, if you want a roadmap to put this into practice, grab our AI visibility playbook. It will give you weekly tasks, some big five content templates, some AI prompts and checklists, all in a very easy to use guide. You can download it right now using the QR code or the link on the screen at svmsolutions.com slash AI playbook. Second, if you'd like to go deeper and talk with me specifically about how these strategies apply to your company, let's set up a strategy call. It's not a sales call. This is where we'll take a look at your marketing, talk about these concepts, identify gaps, and give you some actionable next steps that you can put into work that are tailored for your business. So whether you start with the playbook or book a call, the important thing is don't wait, don't sit on this. Buyers are already conducting this research in private, in silence. And the question is, will you be the one that they choose? You want to be chosen before your competitors. Very good. I want to thank you for your time, and let's open this up to questions. If you haven't already, please submit your questions into the Q&A box. Some have come in during this presentation, so let's talk about these. Okay, first, what's the one thing we should do first if we can't tackle everything? I know it can seem overwhelming. It can seem like there's lots of things that I asked you to focus on. Recommendation is go back to the first concept we talked about, the big five buyer questions. You want to make sure that you're focusing on those so that you can bubble up in the AI research, that you're providing buyers with the information that they need, and so that sales can use that information in their sales follow-up. So the most impactful place to start is by creating content around those big five buyer questions. Okay, second, what's the biggest mistake sales teams make with AI-informed buyers? I'd have to go back to that prior slide that I talked about. It's treating them like traditional prospects and thinking that, well, the buyer doesn't know anything and I need to educate them and I need to go through a traditional discovery process. You're going to lose trust immediately doing that way because the buyer already knows a lot of information in that research. They're 70% of the way there. So you want to shift the sales person's thinking to more of a validation call than a discovery call. Okay, next. Should marketing be leading this or sales? Great question. This is a concept that I get asked about a lot. A lot of companies either focus only on sales and they're a sales-driven culture, they don't have any marketing department, or they have a marketing department, but sales and marketing operate in separate silos. To be successful in this new environment, it has to be both. Marketing will help you show up in AI research and provide great content, but sales has to win once the buyer makes that call. So this alignment is what creates that competitive advantage and is crucial in this new environment. So what I want you to think of is don't treat marketing and sales departments as two separate silos. Bring them together. Let's treat them as one revenue team that's going to work together, leveraging all these concepts to be successful. Okay, next. Okay, we are a small team. Can we realistically do this? And absolutely, if you're a small team, you actually are in a great position to do this because you don't have that many people that need to get involved in the process. Smaller teams can adapt to these ideas faster than larger companies. So that's why the playbook was designed to help you with that. That's why this webinar series is designed, not only this one, but also the webinars that are in my library. They're all designed to help you, even if you are a small team, to act on these ideas faster. Okay. Okay, next, do we need new tech to do this? No, not right away. You're writing content for the most part to address those big five. You can get more advanced technology later, but start this process with strategy and with the small process changes like creating great big five content. Later on, you can add more sophisticated tools like marketing automation or AI-assisted tools to streamline the follow-up process. But you don't have to overhaul your tech stack completely to begin with. Let's achieve some small wins initially that we can then build on from there. Okay, I think that is it for all of our questions. I want to thank you all for your time today. Please act on these ideas. If you have any questions or want to discuss anything with me directly, please feel free to reach out, schedule a strategy call, or just send me an email. Thank you very much, and I will see you on our next masterclass. Thank you very much.